Hello, boys and girls, and welcome to my storytelling ECA this week. This week, we are going to be reading an exciting storybook, and then we are going to be creating a treasure map at the very end. So, you might like to get some of your coloring materials ready, or your markers, or your favorite pencils, or your crayons for our activity at the end. Okay, are you ready? My story that I've chosen this week is called Treasures in the Garden. I bet all of you have been in some terrific gardens in Dubai or in another country, and you know that gardens hold lots of different things. They hold objects, and there are also lots of beautiful things that grow in gardens. And I always love when I go to a garden and I can smell the fresh grass, the fresh trees, and the fresh flowers. Have a look at this magical garden. I love that there's a little pond in the garden with a gnome who's fishing, that the birds are visiting the garden and they have bird feeders there to feed them. There's a little sand area for Holly and Jake to play. There's a tent where they can do some role play. And I know that the children in this story also are very active. They love to go skipping and ride their bicycles. And there's also lots of beautiful room to run around and play. So maybe you've been in a garden like this, or you have a garden like this, or you'd love to go to a garden like this in your imagination. Okay, let's start our story. It was a lovely sunny Saturday morning when Jake realized that he had lost his favorite teddy. Jake's not feeling very happy. He's quite upset. All he's thinking about is his teddy. He's looking under his bed. He's looking behind the couch. He's checking his sister Holly's room, his wardrobes and his cupboards, his toy box, and he's even looking inside the washing machine to see where his teddy could be. He looked under his bed and behind the sofa. He checked in his sister's room and searched in all the drawers. He took out all of his toys from the toy box and even went to see if Mum had put his teddy in the washing machine. But his teddy was nowhere to be found. Jake became very upset. When his big sister Holly asked him to play, he shook his head. He felt too sad to play any games. Suddenly, Holly thought of a brilliant idea. "We can look for your teddy in the garden," smiled Holly. Jake hadn't looked in the garden yet, so he followed her outside. Maybe Jake's teddy was out there somewhere. First, they looked for the teddy in the deepest depths of the sea, surrounded by beautiful mermaids and shimmering fish. A mermaid with a pink tail and wavy fins gave Jake some sparkling shells, which he put into Holly's bag. Can you see them over there looking in the deepest depths of the sea? Holly and Jake checked under every rock, but they still couldn't find his teddy. Next, they crept bravely onto a huge pirate ship. Can you see where they are in the storybook? Holly and Jake hid behind a treasure chest, so the shouting pirate captain with the bushy black beard couldn't see them. Jake grabbed some shiny golden coins from the chest and put them in Holly's bag. He had to cover his mouth so the pirate captain couldn't hear him giggling. But they still couldn't find Jake's teddy. After that, can you see which part of the garden they're in now? They climbed aboard a rocket traveling into space, dodging strange aliens and whizzing past enormous planets. They landed on the moon and floated outside. Holly showed Jake some bright glowing rocks and added them to her bag. Jake's teddy wasn't there either. Soon afterwards, they spied a large red dragon relaxing in a tall green tree. Look at the part of the garden they're in now. "Hello," he said, snapping his sharp teeth together. "Will you join me for tea?" They sat and ate some scrumptious tea with the dragon, who gave Jake some of his rough red scales. Jake grinned and thanked him. But the dragon hadn't seen his teddy bear either. Then Jake and Holly found themselves in a dark, creepy wood where a wizard with a very long beard sat on the rock. And they're in a different section of the garden here again. Feeling excited, Jake nodded and the wizard gave them each a glittering wand. He taught them how to make sparkles and all sorts of amazing magic tricks. And they're imagining that the wizard is saying, "Hello, would you like to learn some magic tricks?" Jake had such a lovely time that he forgot to ask the wizard if he had seen his teddy. Finally, they heard wonderful music playing in an enchanted forest and found some fairies dancing between the flowers. They're over in the garden beside the big tree. Holly and Jake danced with the fairies, who wore soft flower petals and acorns as hats. The pretty fairy queen was so impressed by their dancing that she put silver twinkling crowns on their heads and smiled. Feeling worn out, Holly and Jake sat down in the middle of the garden and took all of the treasures out of Holly's bag to examine them. They had collected so many different items. Can you name them? A shell from a mermaid, a golden coin from a pirate ship, space rocks from the moon, a scale from a dragon, wands from a wizard, and crowns from a fairy queen. What an exciting adventure with such wonderful discoveries. "Do you want to go inside and see if Mum has found your teddy?" Holly asked. Jake realized that he'd forgotten that they were looking for his teddy all along. He had been having such a good time, he'd even forgotten how sad he had been that morning. "We can ask Mum about my teddy bear later," he said happily. "I'm having too much fun playing with you." And can you see Mummy is there and Mummy has found his teddy bear? So today, we're going to use our imaginations just like the children in that story. And we are going to be imagining a garden. Now, this garden might look like your real garden if you have a garden in Dubai, or it might be an imaginary garden that you're thinking of in your head. You need to think, what things are in this garden? Is there flowers? Is there grass? Is there a pond in my garden? Some trees? Some little ornaments? Are there different areas in my garden? And then I need to think, ooh, all of these things are not together in the middle of my garden. They're all spread out. Where am I going to place these items in my garden? And then you are going to pretend to be a pirate making a treasure map. And you are going to put a big X over where you think the treasure might be in this garden that you have created. So over here you can see a little pirate's treasure map, and they're going to draw X over here to mark the spot of where the treasure is. Remember, this is all about using your imagination. Let's have a little look at some treasure maps. Over here you can see an ocean treasure map where the pirates are looking for treasure, and they've mapped out the route that they're going to take, and they're looking for the magic X that marks the spot. So we're going to be doing the same. We need to think about what obstacles might be in the way. Are there things we have to walk around or run around or climb under or swim under? And what other things could we include to make our map look really cool? Here's one example of a map. I can see there are trees. Ooh, there's some sharks swimming. And I know the X is over here by the sand. So your job today is going to be making a treasure map of a garden. Now, I've tried to make my own treasure map and I've thought about some of the things that I would love to have in my garden if I had one. And I said I'd love to have a swing. I'd like to put the trampoline beside the swing. I'd love to have a slide in my garden. I'd also love to have a barbecue so that I could cook some nice things on it and have them for my dinner. And I thought it'd be nice if I had some table and chairs so I could sit and have my meals. And I also love to swim, so I've included a really big swimming pool with a diving board. And then I thought, if there was treasure in my garden, where would it be? And if you can see, Miss Gallagher has hidden her treasure under the trampoline. So that means X marks the spot. That's where my treasure is lying. So for your task today, you can use your coloring pencils, your crayons, your markers, your pencils, and you can draw a treasure map for your garden. Thinking of things you might like to have in your garden or real things that are in your garden. You can take some inspiration from the storybook. There might be some lovely things in that you'd like to include. Maybe you want to make a desert garden because we live in the UAE and have lots of sand. And when you're finished making your treasure map and you've hung it up in your house, you might like to have a little dance. And here you can see a QR code that you can scan, and it's going to take you to a pirate dance, a Just Dance pirate dance, and it's called A Pirate You Shall Be. So with your adult's permission, you can then scan this QR code and do a dance, or you can type in A Pirate You Shall Be into YouTube and see can you find a video that looks like this. Remember to be safe on the internet and to always ask an adult before you start. Have a wonderful time doing my ECA, and I look forward to seeing you all again soon. Bye!